She's just the cleaning lady's daughter. My stepmom told her friends for many years. When dad died, turns out he left me the house and her nothing. I hired her as my cleaning lady last week. Now she scrubs the floors she used to mock my mom for cleaning. I'm Marina. My mom, Lucia, worked as a house cleaner for several families in our suburban neighborhood. She wasn't rich, but she took pride in her work and built a steady client base through word of mouth. That's how she met my father, Charles. He was an accountant at a mid-sized firm, recently widowed, and hired her to clean his modest but well-kept three-bedroom house twice a month. Dad noticed her because she was humming while working, some old Italian song her grandmother taught her. They got talking about music, family, and life. 3 months later, they were dating. A year after that, they got married. And then they had me. We weren't wealthy, but we were happy. Mom continued cleaning houses because, as she'd say, good clients are like family to Soro. You don't abandon family. When I was 8, Mom was diagnosed with aggressive breast cancer. 6 months later, she was gone. Dad was devastated. I still remember him sitting in Mom's favorite armchair, holding one of her clothes and just crying. Enter Jane. She came into our lives 2 years after Mom died. When I was 10, she worked as a receptionist at Dad's firm and had bigger aspirations. She wasn't wealthy, but she was obsessed with appearing classy, always wearing department store clothes she could barely afford and putting on airs like she was somehow better than her job. From day one, she made it clear that I was an inconvenience to her social climbing ambitions. It started small. She'd accidentally exclude me from family photos, move my mom's pictures to less visible spots in the house. But her real specialty was the subtle dig, the casual cruelty wrapped in a smile. She'd host these monthly ladies' lunches for her friends from the country club she insisted we join, despite it straining Dad's budget. I'd come home from school and she'd introduce me. This is Marina, the cleaning lady's daughter. But Charles and I decided to raise her as our own. We're very charitable that way. One time when I was 14, I overheard her telling her friends how challenging it was to civilize me. You can imagine the habits she picked up before. But we're making progress, though sometimes I still catch her cleaning her own room. Can you imagine? Like she's the help. The ladies all tittered, and something in me just broke a little. Dad wasn't completely blind to it. He'd pull me aside after these incidents and say, "Sweetheart, Jane's trying. She just needs time to adjust." Meanwhile, she kept pushing Dad to spend more, upgrade our lifestyle, take out home equity loans for improvements we didn't need. I moved out at 18 for college, worked multiple jobs to support myself, and built a decent life. Last year, Dad was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. During his final months, Jane barely left his side. Not out of love, I realized later, but because she was terrified about her future. I took leave from work to help care for him, and that's when things shifted. One evening, when Jane was away at her monthly spa day, charged to Dad's credit card, of course, Dad asked for help with some paperwork. He seemed unusually serious. "Marina," he said, "I need to apologize. I let Jane disrespect you and your mother's memory all these years. I was a coward." He started crying, something I'd never seen before. "Your mother, Lucia, was the love of my life. Jane was just convenient, safe. I'm so sorry." He died 2 months later. The reading of the will was yesterday, and it was illuminating. The house? Mine? Dad's modest retirement savings, split between me and a local charity. Jane got a small monthly stipend, enough to live on if she budgeted carefully, but nowhere near enough for the lifestyle she created with Dad's credit cards. She'd been living off Dad's income, pretending to be a consultant while really just running up credit card debt. Now, at 52, she has zero actual work experience beyond reception work. And surprise, nobody's rushing to hire someone whose main skill is pretending to be upper class. Yesterday, she called me crying about how she couldn't afford her apartment anymore, asked if I knew of any job opportunities. And you know what? I did. "Actually, Jane, I need a house cleaner. $20 an hour, 3 times a week. Can you start Monday?" The silence on the phone was deafening. I could practically hear her reeling. "You want me to clean your house? Well, you always had such strong opinions about how my mom cleaned. I figured you must be an expert by now." She started this week. She won't meet my eyes, but I noticed she takes extra care with the corners now.